Rightio. Thank you, everyone. Now, I'm actually recording today's session, both because people within our Empower cluster have asked to watch this recording, but also I ran this same one this morning in the School of Access Education, and we could not get it to record. And there's been a few people asking to see this presentation. So I'm recording it. And so in the back of my mind, whilst I'm talking to the Empower cluster here, and we have PhD students plus early career academics all involved here, I'm also in the back of my mind thinking that some of my educators in the School of Access Education may be watching this as well. So, there'll be some things that are more pertinent to academics and others will, for you guys. So the title of this is Shameless Self-Promotion. And I laugh at this because it's a really, it makes it sound as though you're one of these that's going to stand out, on this mountaintop and just promote yourself and share all about yourself. Like, I am so good, the tickets all over yourself. But it's the absolute opposite. I think for many of us, we actually struggle to self-promote because there's a sense of, especially in our culture, you don't want to be the all-knowing, that person's like, oh, that person again. That's all I ever hear about is, what they're doing. So we're battling against that. But the flip coin, the coin flip, whatever that is, to this is that we need to be known. We need to get our name out there for our actual area of expertise. And then that's going to help us to improve when it comes to promotions, to you're working your way up the ladder or to new job opportunities, or there's so many areas, but we need to be more shameless in the way we self-promote in a way that's professional, but tangible as well. So look, these are practical strategies and it's to build your academic profile. So when I'm talking about all this is now about building your academic profile. So whether you're a PhD student or actually teaching or an educator, every one of us will be building this academic profile, through our time. So now I've just added this in. I didn't talk to this morning, but the reason we're doing this is that I know I've got a lot going on in my life, right? I have a lot happening, but if we were to use this example here, this Johari window, what it is, I might know a lot about myself, but others may not know that about me. There are some things about me that I don't even know that other people see about me, right? So there's different aspects, and this Johari window explains it very, very well because there's these 4 quadrants. And when you think about this in the context of us as academics, and I put us all in that boat as academics, I want to use this Johari window to explain it. So in this open self portion, the open portion, this is the part that others see, but you also know, right? So in there, when you think about yourself, you think, okay, well, who am I? Well, I'm a friendly person. I like to do this, and I'm hardworking. I'm diligent. If someone asks me to do something, I'll do it. Right, so that's all in there, and you guys would probably see that. You go, oh yes, that's Trixie. Trixie does this and this and this. So they're the things that you and I both see. But there are some things that are hidden. So it's known to myself, but it's actually not known to others. And that's sort of the hidden element. So I know about this. So there are things like my personal life, some of the things that I do in my own time, my hobbies, my, the crafts and that sort of things. There's sort of things that I don't mind people knowing, but you just don't know. I don't have the need to share that with you guys. So it's hidden. It's hidden from you, but I'm very, very aware of it. But there's also this blind spot, right? So you guys will see me, and there will be things that you see that I might not be aware of. And sometimes it could even be positive things. Sometimes it could be negative things. I often see, especially with PhD students or newer academics, they have this inferiority. I can get that out, that syndrome, imposter syndrome. And yet, as an outsider, we can see that there's something about them. There's either they're determined, they're they're doers. Like you can see that with people. And the same thing, you guys might see things about me that I'm actually unaware of about myself. So that's sort of that blind spot. And there's also this one little area that is actually unknown, and that these quadrants can actually be all various sizes. Sometimes this unknown quadrant, who knows? It could be tiny, it could be big, depends. But these quadrants change over time. So as you open up more to others, you'll find that whole left-hand side quadrant will move over. And it's then all of a sudden there's more about yourself that everyone knows, that they understand about you and that you share with others. And you might find the blind spot and that unknown spot start to disappear a little bit more, right? So the reason why I raised this is that in regards to us as academics, we need to share our work with others because people don't know what you're doing unless you're telling or you're sharing this information. And, we feel a bit awkward sharing because it's like, oh my gosh, telling other people again about what's going on. You feel like a bit of this knower person. But it's really important to be sharing, to be opening yourself up so that people can see more about what you actually are, what you're doing, so that when they see the name, they go, oh, Samaya, I know Samaya. She's just done this and this and this. Like, that, and that's from her being able to share it that we actually know that. So I've got some tips for you to be thinking about. Number one, I think one of the most important things you need to be doing is setting goals. Now, this is really valuable. Now, we teach it a lot in the unit that I teach. And so I know it's valuable, but the reason I know it's valuable is when I first started as an academic, I went to an early career researcher program, and one of the key speakers there, she was a professor at the time, and she basically said, have you got a 5-year plan of where you want to be in 5 years? She said, if you don't, then I suggest when you walk out of here, you go back to your office and you create it. She said, if you do not have a goal, you're not going to have a strategic plan to be able to achieve that goal. Things don't fall in your lap, right? PhDs don't fall in your lap, right? Yeah, these opportunities to do research with other people, they don't fall in your lap. You need to be out there and be active. But we need to, first of all, set our goals. Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? Now, I always suggest when you're setting goals, don't go beyond 5 years because it's actually too long. Your 5-year goal is going to, over time, start to push back, and then you can reset and reset and reset. So start with 5 years. Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? Then work your way back. What do you need to do in that medium-term frame to sort of be pushing away to get to that point? And then what do you want to do in the short term? Now, when I first thought about this professionally, it felt like one of those duh moments. Oh, duh. I love goals. I'd never set myself a goal like this, ever. And so I literally came back to my office and I set my goal. And back then it was to achieve a master's. So I'd finished my degree. I was starting to teach in steps, and it was, right, my goal is a master's. But what do I need to do to get there? And so I knew medium term I wanted to do a grad diploma leading into the master's. And the first one was just to get myself enrolled and started, like not sitting back and not achieving. So that was my goal. And, within 5 years, I achieved it. I was like, oh, it's done. What's my next goal now? And so I continually kept changing it up and looking forward. But if you haven't set a goal, go and do it. We talk about SMART goals. SMART goals are great because they are simple. They're to the point. They're realistic. They've got a time frame set with them. That is what I would suggest you do. If you want to, you can pop little key points about, oh, in that I'm going to do the steps that you're going to take. But make these goals so they stand on their own, and you literally can have them up on the wall in front of you, and you keep looking at it. In 5 years, this is what I want to achieve. And in 3 years, I want to do this. And in 1 year, I want to do this. And that's all going to work towards achieving that big goal. So that's my first part of the tip one. Second part is build your credentials, right? Now, number one, you guys are all doing PhDs. that will open new doors. It's blown me away at the doors that it does open once you've got your PhD. You can be an academic for years and years and years and actually not even be recognized as an academic, because the PhD just holds so much power. So you're on the right track. You're doing your PhD. That's going to open those doors for you. But even for my people in the School of Access Ed, for some of them, they're not thinking about PhD. So build your credentials instead. Go and do the PD units. Go and do a short course, a micro credential, like whatever you can do to continually build your credentials in your area of expertise. It's vital. So work on that. And the other part to this is, don't undersell yourself. Your contribution to the field, whatever field that you're in, is really, really valuable. We tend to do this comparison where we compare ourselves to other people, and we always fall short all the time. But we need to stop doing that, because we are unique in ourselves. We're unique in the vision and the passion we bring to our field. And we need to acknowledge that about ourselves, that what we're contributing is very valuable to that field. So yes, do not undersell yourself. It's a little bit like that self-sabotaging. Often people will self-sabotage, and one of the ways is by literally telling yourself you're not good enough. There's someone out there that's going to be better than you. But we need to get past that little block first of all. So that's my first tip. Any sort of questions, any comments on any of that? Any reflections about yourself that you can see here and think, oh, yeah, that's a takeaway for me. Very quiet bunch. Okay, I will keep going, but please interrupt anytime. Number 2 with my shameless promotion is build a base. Now, what I mean by this, build networks and build your connections. Any chance you get, and value them too. Now, I'm going to link number 2 and number 1 together here, because it sort of link to each other. What I want you to do is, as you're thinking about building networks and connections, I want you to record these connections and these potential future collaborations. So record them somehow, because what happens, and Desley and I are a good example of this. We've worked together in the past for many years. We see each other, we hug each other, we chat for hours, and then we go away, and both of us keep saying, we have to have an e-coffee and we need to get together and do something. And yet both of us walked away, kept doing our PhDs, and we haven't done anything together. Now, what happens is you forget. In the back of your mind, you've spoken to people and you want to do something with them, but you forget because your lives go your own ways. So as you're going to conferences or workshops or any of these sort of groups where you connect with somebody, then make a note. This is the person I met. This is where they're from. This is the potential collaboration opportunity that could be there. Like, I know you guys know Mel from our group. I mean, Mel is in China. She's working with Indonesia. She's got these connections that connect very well to the Empower cluster. So, if you think there's a connection there, you need to be noting her contact details, the opportunities that might open for you and her to collaborate on something together. So record these collaborations so that you can come back and be reminded of them. And the reason for that is that I've got this idea that I want to do, and I know that Desley is in the same sphere as me when it comes to this. And we've talked about it for years, and all of a sudden we caught up and was like, yes, we're going to do this. So, because of the connection we've had from years past and that talking to each other over the years, we're able to connect and say, let's work on this project together. So there's different ways that you can develop these networks and these connections through the CQ Institute itself, by attending some of the various opportunities that we have, being a part of clusters like we've got here, cross-institutional. So as you're meeting somebody at conferences, note down their interests. Sometimes it's even reading the conference proceedings or the program, and seeing who has a connection and how it connects, and note them down. Who this person is, what their area of interest is, how does it align to you, and what could be a potential opportunity for the future. so that you can come back and you've got their details noted somewhere. LinkedIn is an absolute must, I believe, for professional people to be getting onto. Now, you get a bit sick of social media. I am. I'm getting, like someone said, are you on Instagram or Twitter or X or whatever that other thing is? And I'm like, oh, no, because it just takes so much time. But I've made myself do LinkedIn because it is a professional social network. And as you make connections to people, you're starting to hear more about the research that's going on, the opportunities, the just you keeping up to date with what's happening in this professional world. So number one, you should have yourself hooked up to LinkedIn. You need to make yourself hop on, just even at nighttime, the scrolling, the death of scroll, just jump on and just have a look. What's the latest? The one positive thing about LinkedIn, which is different to Facebook, is that they sequentially keep moving down the page. So if you jump on and you see some posts and you go down and then you accidentally get thrown back, it actually goes back to the same one at the top. It doesn't sort of change it all up. So you can just go back down the scroll. So if you miss a few days, you've just got more to scroll through if you want to catch up with everything. But the other thing about LinkedIn is that sometimes you'll see about opportunities. So special edition journals might come out, conferences, like just heaps of things will come up that could be those potential opportunities that you can grab hold of. So LinkedIn is a professional social network that I would suggest you do. And look, and you can connect there not just within your institute, but you're going Australia-wide and globally. So you're connecting with people overseas and in your particular area. Probably the key thing here, one thing I would suggest, don't just accept absolutely everyone that comes across that either invites you or that you see. Be a little bit strategic in choosing the people that are linked to your particular area of interest, because otherwise you're going to get a lot of stuff. It's like, oh, I'm so sick of this. It's got nothing to do with what I'm interested in. So be a little bit strategic in following people or accepting people that are within your scheme or that you think you might benefit from learning more about what's going on in their area. Journals, so you can actually also follow journals. So if there's a journal that's in your area, follow them. And that way then it'll pop up with ideas on special editions or when a new one's coming out and things. The next one's about being open to speaking at seminars, at conferences or colloquiums. Whenever the opportunity arises, get out of your comfort zone and go and present at them. That can be very nerve-wracking the first couple of times you go and do it, but you've got to come back to that, what I said before in the last tip. Your contribution is valuable, right? So you're an expert in your particular area. You're researching into it. You know a lot about it. So you need to go in with that self-confidence to going, well, this is my area of expertise. So, I'm going to talk about it because this is my baby. Now, there are various different seminars. For instance, Miriam just shared about her seminar for the education are doing. Perfect opportunity to be able to present your research within a closed, like-minded, supportive group. One of the best opportunities is to do something like that so that you're giving it a go, but you're going to be well supported. So the learning and teaching seminars, I think there's one coming up in CQU very, very soon. I think it's closing in a few weeks' time. So you can present at the learning and teaching seminar. There's plenty of conferences around the place that you can apply for. The only negative, of course, with conferences is there's a cost involved with going, accommodation and everything. But there are also opportunities to get sponsorships and be funded to go to some of these, especially if you're doing a PhD, you'll have some money sitting there for that. And if you're working within a school, there is generally some PD money that you may be able to access to help fund those conferences. Another one that we don't hear of very much, but are colloquiums. Do you ever have colloquiums, Miriam? Have you ever done much with colloquiums? No, when I first started CQU, I actually ran colloquiums here once a month on a Friday night. And back then they provided nibblies and drinks and someone would present on their research. And it was just a really lovely, very, very collegial and just great collaboration for our Bundaberg campus. Don't see them much anymore, which is a real pity, but a cloakroom is another great way. So anything where you can share your expertise, even something like this, these types of meetings, being able to present at is also very good. I remember when I was doing my PhD, for some reason, in the back of my mind, I remember reading something about don't share what your PhD is all about because you will put people to sleep. People don't care. And I remember hearing this, and I'd never spoken about my PhD to anybody. They would ask me, and I'd just say, oh, yeah, I'm just doing it on da da da. And I would let it go at that. So I thought, I don't want to bore them to tears. And the first time I was able to present on it was in this closed group like this, in a SIG in our National Association. And I shared on my PhD. Oh my goodness, it was horrible. Because it wasn't that it was horrible. They all said it was great. But for some reason, I got so nervous, really nervous, forgot to share, forgot to unmute, forgot to, like I just had all these mistakes because I got really nervous. And it made me sort of realize that even though I present at conferences and I've done a lot of this and very confident, you actually do need to put yourself out there and practice. And even probably what I should have done is practice it properly, not just thinking, oh, I'll just go along and just talk, because the nerves kicked in through everything. So these are the sort of opportunities where you need to give it a try. Dip your toe in the water, come and speak at something like this, just so you're building your confidence, and that'll just then segue through to, the next layers of conferences and everything. Join things like special interest groups, communities of practices, or any working parties that are in your area. So you guys have done well. You've joined the Empower Cluster. So this is going to open opportunities. You're making connections with people, and you'll be able to attend a range of different things, access funds. Like there's so much you can get from joining a research centre. But there are special interest groups. I know with the National Association of Enabling Educators of Australia, so just NAEA, we have 13 SIGs, which covers a range of different areas of interest. And within those SIGs, they're doing research, they're getting grants, they're presenting, they just got so much happening in those SIGs that anyone that's involved in them is actually getting accolades. They're getting this grant, which is an external grant, great for promotions, great for, job applications. So you get involved in that type of thing because there's opportunities. The doors of opportunities will open. CQU has a lot of communities of practice, as do other universities. So look out for them and attend them. Working parties, sometimes there might be something special. We do a social innovation working party in the School of Access Education. And that has been where our Be Positive has come from. And we've grown that. Now there's grant opportunities and new program opportunities and opportunities to present it. Chris's lead the way. So there's lots of opportunities just from being a part of this working party. So can you guys think of anything else, like any other groups that you could potentially think about joining that might relate to what you're doing that could benefit you? Pop it in the chat if you can think of anything. I'm hoping as I'm talking here, you guys are going, oh, yes, yes, yes. Yes, Desley.
Tricks, I use a very quirky methodology, so it has its own community, and that's been really, really beneficial for me as I'm going through and then as I'm moving forward.
Good point. That's the other thing too. Sometimes within our areas of research, we might have, like you've got, this very special methodology that's unique. So if you can connect with others, then it's sort of helping to regenerate and really build the knowledge around that style as more people are doing it. And you get support too. Yeah. Okay, so that's my second tip. Now my third tip. This is probably leading more to once you've, say, got a paper published. So what I realized was when I started getting papers published, I thought, well, how do I get it out to people? How do I get it out into the world so that others are reading it and they're seeing what I'm doing? Because like I said back in the Johari window, I know what I'm doing. I've got lots of stuff and you guys might see some of it, but there's a lot that's hidden. And unless I get it out there, that's going to stay hidden. And that's not going to help me to get promotion, to get new jobs, to get whatever it is I want to go for. So I've actually got to open that little area so that people can see what I'm doing. So I suggest in this particular tip that you use research platforms effectively. And so what I basically do is I have a little list hanging on my computer right here. Every time I get a paper published, I will then go through this process and I will start to embed them in each of these areas. So I thought what I'd do is actually, I've got them sort of hyperlinked so I can take you in and have a look. So each one of these I would suggest you join. So create your own profile and you start adding stuff into these and even using these to actually source information. So let's start with ResearchGate. I'm sorry about the coloring. It was really bright until I linked it and then it went dull. So the first one is ResearchGate. And when I click on it, it should actually hopefully open up to the page I was in. Oh, no. I'm going to bear with me a sec because I'm pretty sure that if I do this, it'll actually start opening them up for me here. Okay, so ResearchGate is a sort of a platform that houses all your papers, but you do need to put it up yourself. All of these first few I'm showing you, you've actually got to go in and put them in yourself. Now, as you can see here, this is ResearchGate here, and what it does, it shows you, I've got this, for instance, research interest score of 89. Not sure what that means. I've got 101 citations so far and a 6 H index. Now, I'll come back to the H index because that's something really important for you guys to be aware of because that's what you want to develop. As a researcher, you want to grow your H index, and I'll explain what that is soon. But in the profile, if you go down, this is my profile. Look at this. You can add things in. And as I go down here, you can see that I've put up my latest papers. That was only done in March 2025. And there's been 70 reads of that paper already so far. Right? So it's saying, oh, yeah, so people are interested in that paper. There's no citations yet, but they can download it. So they can download it and there's another read. They've got access to it. Social innovation action here, you can see that there's been 37 reads of this since last year and 1 citation. Here's another one. There's been 4 citations already of this particular one. And so as you go down, this is my PhD. So that's in there. Again, been cited 3 times already. And then you can open up and you'll see all of your articles and, what's going on with all of them. So that's the research and the stats there. What I do want to show you, so you can actually follow people or they can, or you can follow people or they can follow you. And this just shows here, look at this, overall publication stats. And this is interesting because sometimes this is some of the data you might need to pull for promotion applications. So, 101 citations all up, quite a number of reads across all the papers that I've had. Research interest score has grown 0.7. Woohoo. So that's ResearchGate. And you can actually go in and search for research in this. So if I was going to go in and search for something around positive psychology, I can go in and it will show me a range of articles that have been uploaded in around positive psychology. So then again, I can go and download from there and there's my articles. So that's ResearchGate. Next one is actually LinkedIn again. Now, with LinkedIn, the reason I put it in here again is that, so beforehand I was saying about connecting, making connections, building your networks and connections. Now, this is shameless self-promotion. Now you need to be promoting yourself on here. And so if you guys haven't been on LinkedIn, this is what it looks like. As you go down, you'll see different people. Now, for instance, I'm not Mary Wright's friend, but Hank Hengschler is one of my connections. So sometimes when he likes things or shares things, I will see them. But this then opens up opportunities to go, oh, look at this. That's an interesting book about the long-term effects of education development programs, and you might want to go and research it a little bit further. So these are the opportunities that you get to, look at what's going on. There are some. I'm starting to think it's becoming a bit more like Facebook, but you've got to skip through past things. One of the things I see a lot, and it might help you PhD students, is a little bit more around people will present their templates on things. So, for instance, this is a literature review roadmap, and you can have a look at that and go, oh, so what do they say? There's a lot of PhD tips on LinkedIn, and you can just keep going through there. Now, with LinkedIn, one of the best things, I'll just see if I can go up here, is literally going to ChatGPT and creating your blurb to put up on there. It's always good to have an image, some sort of image, something catchy that's going to catch people's eyes. This first one here, for instance, this is Chris Higgins, who's in our group. And part of his team, they created something for me to put up about the presentation, right? So they've got that. They did it all for me. It's ready to go. All I had to do was share. And I've now written 2 more things that I will share coming closer to the time about what it is I'm going to be presenting on. So you can click on a person and you'll find out more about them, what they're doing, what their latest things are. I'm just trying to think where I've got to go to profile. No, add profile. Come on, where are you, Trixie? No, I don't want that. Home, might be home. Oh, no, it's probably not home. Doesn't matter. Profile viewers. But again, here you can see people, it shows you like people who have been checking you out. And this, again, it's about making connections. So LinkedIn is a good one. Let's go now to the next one, which is academia.com. Now, again, I'm not 100% sure if this one's probably one of the best ones. I use it a fair bit. Again, you're uploading your papers. So I've got 38 papers uploaded. I've put in some conference papers in the past, my thesis. And what I noticed with academia.com is you don't get quite as many views. But again, it's a great place to go and search for articles, right? And you can go in there, but your views aren't quite as much. But it's all about self-promotion, getting it out there. So that's academia.com. Google Scholar is the other one I would definitely say you need to log yourself in and set yourself up there. The interesting thing is Google Scholar actually shows a different H index to what ResearchGate and Scopus do. Unfortunately, the university goes by the Scopus H index, but if it's higher in this one, eventually your other one will grow as well. You can see here that you're still getting, you can see the citations. So for instance, we talk about a H index, and I'll show it on the next screen. What the H index is the number of citations per paper. So if you've got a H index of 2, it means that 2 of your journal articles have been cited twice. And then it goes up. If you've got a H index of 6, it means 6 of your publications have been cited 6 times. So it keeps growing like that. The more publications, the more citations, your H index will grow. So as you can see here, I've actually got a H index of 6 via Scopus. This one's saying 8, right? So it's basically saying that 8 of my articles have been cited 8 times. And if you have a look here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so they're saying that it's a H index of 8. So that's how that works. But again, you can upload it here into Google Scholar, and it's accessible. It's also accessible if people go into Google Scholar and search for articles. So, you want to get it out there as much as possible. Now, for some of you, you may be staff members. So building your staff profile is really important, because what actually happens when people search for you on Google, often it'll take you to the staff profile. And that's where a lot of your information is. So for people as casuals, and this is a casual, and even in your university, you need to make sure that your profile is up to date. All the current details. Have you guys all got an ORCID ID? If you haven't, that's another thing to add to your list, which isn't in my presentation. But your ORCID ID is very important, because as you publish, you need to have that ORCID ID, and that's how a lot of your articles will be found. So look up that ORCID ID and sign yourself up for that as well, because you will need that. So it tells you about yourself, your supervision, your educational interests, and your publications. Well, you can't load them yourself, it goes through our system. So whatever university you're in, it tends to be a system that you've got to put your papers into, which will then load them up into onto your profile, student profile, staff profile. Get it right. So this Research Elements is actually the platform that we have to enter all of our research at CQU. And then once it's accepted and approved, that's right, I remember now, I've accidentally double linked the wrong thing here. So yeah, Research Elements is where you've got to upload your papers if you're a CQU staff member, and then that will automatically transition it through to your staff profile. Now, if you're thinking about down the track for promotion, you have to make sure it marries up, because if it doesn't, then, you know, they can only go by the information that they've got on their system. So you'd have to make sure it's done. Now, some of you may have heard of Advance HE. So this is actually, it's a UK organisation, but they do what we call fellowships. And their fellowships is recognition of quality learning and teaching. And so you can actually apply, you write this application up, and you can apply to become a Advanced HE Fellow. You can be a Senior Fellow, which presents more a leadership experience. And then there's a higher level one again, which tends to be more for the deans in different areas. I'm sure, Desley, your husband went for this. He went for one of the higher ones, didn't he? In this one, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it wasn't senior. I think he went one higher again. I'm not sure. So the fellowship, this opportunity is a really good one. Now, you'll find that different universities will support it. No, I'm not sure about your university. It would be well worth asking them. The application, it's a different type of process, because this is the start of promoting yourself. Right? You need to promote what you've done and the value to you, the value to the students, the value to the university, the value to the community. Right? So you're selling yourself, but then you get this fellowship, and you'll see at the end of our signatures, which is the next thing I'll talk to, that you can actually put it up there as one of your acknowledgements. What are they called? Your, PhD, masters, all those. What's it called, Mim?
The qualifications in your signature.
Yeah. There's another word for them. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, you put your quals up on your email signature as well. So this Advanced HE is good. And the other thing is, once you're in, you can actually connect with people. They'll have opportunities for workshops, presentations. They have grants that are open at various times throughout the thing. And there's even opportunities to share your research and what you've been doing. So again, it's about being there. When the opportunity comes up, you jump at it. And the last one is the email signatures. Now, the reason I say that is over the time when I started putting my publications on my email, what you do is you find that when people actually get your emails, they might see and go, oh, that's interesting, and they'll click on it. And that's just, again, another way of accessibility to get your research out there. Now, there's only one caveat here. CQU tend to be a little bit precious about their branding. And it's a little bit tricky. They won't tell you to take it down, but you need to be a little bit snazzy in how you do it. So what I've found works best for me is doing this. Check out my latest publications, and then having it so that there is a link on there. Now, you've got to be careful, because I've got a number of 2024 publications. There's like 5 there. And if I were to do that, it sort of adds this much to the bottom of your screen. So I've done it sneaky. I've got my latest publication there for 2025 ready to go. But if anyone gets these others, they can actually just click on each one of them. I've hyperlinked them. There's no right nor wrong. If it's too much, you might get something from CQ saying, don't do it, please adjust it back. But this is what I found sort of works for me, enough for me, without taking up too much room. And just closing out of this. Right, so that's sort of the key things about self-promotion. One more thing I'd add to this that I haven't put in: create a biography. right? A little bit of a reflection about yourself and who you are. What you'll find is as you go to conferences, as you present anywhere, they'll ask for a bio. And look, honestly, your bio will change because sometimes they'll ask for a 100-word one, a 150-word one, a 200-word one. Sometimes you want to put in about all the different presentations you've done. Sometimes it might be about completing a PhD. So your bio will change. So have a little play with it and come up with 3 or 4 versions of a bio so that when you do need it, you go back and you can access it and then make whatever adjustments you need. Now, interestingly, there was something the other day come up on LinkedIn, and someone talked about, said, after all this time of me writing my own bios, I threw it into ChatGPT, and wow, he said, what a difference it made to my bio. It sounded so good. So I literally went in and actually played with mine to see what it did, and it just toned it up, just, made it just smooth. So make sure you start writing a bio and having that ready for when you do start doing promotions and conferences. Now, the final tip is keep the momentum happening. So what opportunities are out there that you can get involved in? Create Research Centre, like our Empower Cluster, is a great starting point. You're connecting with people. So you've made the first step by being involved with our centre. And there's plenty of opportunities out there. So every opportunity, you jump at it. I've got here the National Association newsletter from my session today. So the different associations that you are with, they will often have newsletters. So you can actually put in the latest information. The Create Research Centre, for instance, we have a newsletter that goes out a couple of times a year. Now, already I'm starting to collect information for that. So thanks, Samaya. She's already sent me stuff. We've put it to ChatGPT. We have it ready to go. So over the coming few weeks, that will go up onto LinkedIn, right? So it'll start being shared. But we'll also put it into the newsletter as well. So again, it's about putting yourself out there. Like I said before, there's Advanced HE to become a fellow. Actually, I meant to show you that. It's gone now. But when I was saying before about putting it up on your emails, you put it up in your list of credentials. And nothing says more about your credentials than actually having them listed on your email. Even though you feel a bit pretentious, I must admit it took me ages to change and put PhD on my emails because I just felt very, very awkward putting it on there. But definitely, whatever. Silly computer's playing up. It's not the computer, actually, it's me, but let's not go there. Let's just pretend it's the computer playing up on me. But yeah, when you put it in, when you put the, where are we here? This one is the one I'll show you. Golly, it's going slow. Everyone must be on the computer and slowing our system down a bit, I think. You see at the bottom of this, somewhere, eventually, in the next century, just how, and I meant to show you before, oh my goodness me, how hard is this? See how you put your lists, your qualifications down? Whatever you've done, that HEA, that's the one I was just telling you about, Senior Fellow of the Higher Education. Any certificates, everything that you do, you put in there. So when you're professionally communicating with people, they are seeing who you are and your credentials. Right. Now, and the scope is basically, I talked about that before, just about building your H index. That's key to being a researcher. You want to start to build that. And that is it. That is my presentation about shameless self-promotion. Now, I'm always happy to chat to people about this, any ideas. I think the other thing that we need to be thinking about is how can we support each other, especially in our cluster, because we want to share in amongst ourselves, but also further afield. So we've got in our team site, I've actually got a section there where we're able to add information about news for our newsletter and add information to go into LinkedIn. So if you've got something that, like for instance, Desley, whether you want to do it or not, but I would say, number one, you need to have a glass of wine and you press a photo of you pressing the button to show you've just submitted your PhD. right? That goes onto LinkedIn. People get to see it. They get to share with you. And it is like, oh, there's your first step. You're just that close to being a doctor now. Like you need to let people know. Samaya sent me information already. We're about to post that onto LinkedIn. Whenever you get a publication done, whenever you go to a conference, whenever you present at something, like absolutely anything, as soon as you do it, you think, oh, actually, like even today, no, you're really great at doing photos of everybody. So, what about like here? Can you take a photo of the people and the screen or something? Think if I put this,
I can do that.
Think if hey, I'm just going to play with this and see if I can do what I'm just telling you to do. I'm going to take a screenshot. I want to bear with me. How do I'm trying to get all the words in. No, go back. Oh, I know. I do. Yep, right up. I'm going to give this a no. Nissa, you're not in there. I know what I'll do. Hang on, bear with me. So these are the silly little things that you really need to do. I can make it smaller. Sorry, this is wasting time. There we are. That's better. Okay, so everybody get ready to smile. Hold it. Very good. Right, so I have now taken that screenshot with our photos in it, this thing. Hopefully, hasn't come up to say it's happened yet. Let's hope it pops up soon. Otherwise, I'll be making you smile another time. But that's just another way that you can now share this, saying, oh, I've had a great session today, shared on this, and you put that up onto LinkedIn. It hasn't come up yet, people. It's going very slow. Let's do it. I'm going to do it one more time. Ready, everybody? Smile. Hold it. Hold it. Surely it'll come up now. Okay. So look, that's it from my presentation today. I'm going to stop recording, which